All right, we are recording. So, welcome to the viewers at home. This is Typology Gifts. I'm Dan, and with us today is Lara. Right? Did I pronounce it right? Kind of like Laura.
Lara,
Lara.
yes,
Yes. Okay.
you got it.
Nice to meet you.
You
Um,
too.
yeah. So, I guess I don't. Have you seen other videos that I've done? I would assume you might have seen something.
I've seen one or two, like
Okay.
one and a half.
1.5. Okay. They're kind of long format videos, so I wouldn't blame you if you had only seen one of them. But for the benefit of those who are watching, I do this to help people just get a second opinion. They let me ask them questions for free, and in exchange, I get to put the video up on YouTube and have it on my channel. So it's a fair exchange, I guess. Um, and uh, and it's just my opinion. It's just it'll hopefully be a collaborative thing where we can try to work together to try to get to the bottom of things, and then if you're um, if you're not sure or you're pretty sure or whatever of like what type you are, at least hearing someone else's opinion and rationale and whatever can be helpful. Um,
Totally.
yeah. So especially it's hard to it's hard to analyze your own brain in a way.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get opinions from people who don't understand all the functions,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I always like talking to someone who geeks out and understands the orders of functions and, all the nuances of the different types. So,
Mhm. So, where to start? What can you tell me about let's see. Let's start with something interesting. What would you say, regardless of stereotypes, whatever type you think you are, and just kind of putting stereotypes to the side, what do you think are some some weaknesses to your personality that you've observed, some problems that you struggle with when it comes to your personality?
well, I feel like I'm between two types, so I'm not sure if I can answer it specific to types or
Yeah,
types
don't answer
weaknesses.
specifically
Okay.
type specific.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Yeah, okay. So I think probably one of my biggest weaknesses would either be a lack of attention to detail, or I can have attention to detail when I need to, but I would say a low threshold for minutia,
mhm.
low patience for minutia. It just drains me. And I would also say sometimes I probably can seem a bit scattered or overcommitted.
Mhm. Is it that you are actually overcommitted or that you seem overcommitted?
I don't think I'm overcommitted. I mean, there
Okay.
have been times where I feel like, there's probably been like two or three acute times where I feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I gotta like recalibrate and
Mhm.
reprioritize things. But yeah, I think like people would say like, oh, of course she's into like some new interest or she has a billion things going on, and it can overwhelm people, but
Mhm.
it actually is very manageable for me.
Okay. So how do you manage it?
Um, I think I'm really good at um, drilling into like the essence of something.
Mhm.
So I can like juggle a lot of different things because I'm good at like understanding what's the most important aspect to focus on.
Mhm.
And so if it's like a professional interest thing, like I can juggle a bunch of different. I can have like back to back calls with different companies or different people and be able to like juggle a lot of that at once because
Mhm.
in the moment I'm able to narrow in on I think the most essential thing that's pertinent to that conversation and relevant.
Mhm.
Um, and I think like that skill or whatever you want to call it is like it helps me learn things really quickly
Could you give me a
too.
specific example of that you remember, like like daytime moment?
Um, well, I just find like a lot of times, I'll give like a professional example and a personal example. I feel
Mhm.
like professionally, A lot of times in a conversation, people will say, "Oh, wow, yeah, that's a question," or "Yeah, totally, like you got four of it pretty quickly." And that's after, just kind of like an opening summary of the situation
Mm-hmm.
or kind of overview.
Mm-hmm.
And like on the personal side, like I can learn things really quickly. I'm trying to think of something recently that I picked up pretty quickly. Um, I do dance for fun, and I like to like throw myself into new types of dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up that pretty quickly, or like cooking new recipes, or like I went on this really cool rock climbing trip, and I had zero experience with the like technical rock climbing, but I was able to like pick it up pretty quick.
Okay. But no specific. Well, you gave specific examples. Rock climbing. So, in the case of rock climbing, when you had to learn it, did you how much of it did you do beforehand versus waiting until you got there? Like, what percentage would you say of
Zero in that case.
zero of
I,
beforehand
I was
or zero of? Okay, you sort of wanted to
zero
feel it out
beforehand.
as you got there.
Yeah, it was that one was definitely like getting thrown into the deep end, and
Mhm.
it was just like paying really close attention to the instructors as they were demonstrating
Mhm.
and trying to understand and basically like mimic what they were doing and
Mhm.
understand like why you had to do things a certain way.
Mhm. Mhm. So, do you think that let's see. Do you think that you're better at understanding like human systems or mechanical systems or like well you mentioned rock climbing. I guess you could call that a climbing system or something. I don't really know what you would call that, but like a technique, I guess. Where what would you say you have an aptitude towards, or which ones of those would you say you have an aptitude towards?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty good with technique in general.
Mhm.
And I think, and that could be like of a mental nature,
Mhm.
or it could be of a more hands-on nature. So, like I play piano, for example. I started painting.
Mhm.
I like I mentioned, cooking. Like I think those type of things I can pick up. Like anything that's technique, I'm really interested in mastering it.
Mhm.
Or there's also like techniques for like negotiation or communication. So I kind of wrap that all in the same thing of just like mastering a craft, if it's more mental energy or physical.
And how do you decide which crafts you want to master?
Um, like any given time, I usually have something that I'm kind of obsessed with.
Mhm.
Um, and that can come and go, but a lot of them have, well, like I'd say, maybe a half a dozen or so have stayed like lifelong passions that I'm like continuing to try to master. Like I did ballet when I was growing up, I did piano when I was growing up. And I still do those things, and those have been like lifelong passions. And then other ones I've kind of picked up on the way. Like right now, I'm really interested in mastering like online chess. So that's been kind of like a random one in quarantine, but I can already tell it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm like watching a lot of like strategy videos and technique videos and stuff. So I
For,
find
for
I find that process
it, it
starting.
it cut out a little bit, so I'm gonna turn off my VPN and I'm gonna ask you again. Did you say online tests, by the way?
Chess,
Oh,
C
chess.
H E S S,
Okay,
chess.
let me disconnect my VPN. So it might disconnect for just a quick second, or we might have to rejoin the room. So hold on one second.
Okay.
Sorry, friends at home. Hang in there. There we go. Testing, testing. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha. Uh huh.
And then I think this one will.
Yeah, you've got a
There we
double.
go.
There we go.
Got rid of my doppelganger. That's rule number one of encountering your doppelgangers. You have to kill them first. Um, so, so online chess, huh? That in and so is it? You have just a lot of. Okay, let me ask you this other question that I like to ask fairly early on. Um, would you see yourself as more proactive or reactive, generally speaking?
I can definitely be both. I can be proactive when I need to be, for sure. I think I would
Hmm.
prefer to be reactive, though, on balance. I can
Okay.
like kind of force myself to be proactive when I need to, and especially if there's like something important on the line.
Hmm.
Um, but in general, I enjoy it when people kind of approach me more.
Okay. And I'm curious to know why that is. I'm curious to know what it is that causes you to like to respond or riff off of something else, or riff off of someone else. What is that? What do you think is it that?
Maybe part of it's curiosity. I can usually like tease out something interesting from
Mhm.
anyone.
Mhm.
So that's probably it. Part of it. I don't like rejection.
Mhm.
So that probably plays into. I mean that would be like I would not be good in like a sales role, for example, where you like constantly have to do a lot of like cold call outreach and stuff like that would kind of be hell for me. So maybe a combination of both of those.
Why would that be help for you? I'm just curious if that's okay to ask.
Um, I think like on one level it would get very monotonous and repetitive, and I would if I and like I understand it's a numbers game, and you have to build your funnel and you have to expect that a certain number will say no, but that would just get like draining, I think, if people are always telling me no and I had to get back out there and do the exact same thing. And to me it would seem like a not a great ROI on my time if
Mhm.
all this effort was only producing like two leads or wins at the end of the day. I would just feel like I could do a lot more with my time, I think, with that like time that didn't those conversations that didn't lead anywhere.
Mhm. 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 And is wasting your time is that a priority for you? Is that something that you think about a lot? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Why do you think you think about that a lot?
I think because like I do have a lot of interest, and it like the best case scenario would be able to do a little bit of a lot of different things that I enjoy.
Mhm.
And if I get bogged down, or if I'm confined in one environment for too long, that's really hard for me. Like if I was at a conference and I had to like sit in one spot
Mhm.
for like 9 hours, or if I had the type of job where I just had to like grind away doing one type of thing all day, um, that would really wear on me.
Mhm. 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 And so the reason is that you like to have a fresh number of things coming into the picture, kind of like a constant stream of fresh things coming in to kind of
Yeah,
react to.
I think it also relates to what we were talking about at the very beginning,
Mhm.
which is I feel like, like using the example of a conference or something, it like, within like 10 minutes of the keynote address or the panel discussion, or whenever someone's like giving a talk or something,
Mhm.
or if I'm reading a book and I'm one chapter in, it's like, oh yeah, got it, I got the concept. And then most of the book is like describing that concept in different, using different examples. But once I get like the main concept, I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking like, oh, like, okay, so I got it. I got what this whole conference is about, or I got what this one talk is about. And then I
Mhm.
start getting antsy because I'm thinking like, oh, I could be like talking to someone else, or I could be like at Pilates class, or I could be eating a lunch, or there's like a million things that I'd rather be doing especially once I get the gist of something.
Right, right, right. So, uh, so it's a bit like hitting the same note over and over again for you then at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that you get there faster than other people in as a general rule? Do you think you get there faster? Why do you think you get there
Mm-hmm.
faster?
Um, that's a really hard question. I don't know. Either it's like some kind of like mental model based on pattern recognition, probably,
Mhm.
or it's just like an inherent like constant searching for the like essential principle. I think that's just like how I approach things.
Mhm. Okay. Um, you mentioned you mentioned a sport earlier. I bet I don't remember which one it was. I'm sorry. You
Rock
mentioned
climbing?
rock climbing. Is that the only sport you mentioned? Is what sports are
Yeah.
you involved in at
I
all?
don't like sports.
You don't like sports, so rock
No.
climbing was like it was like coming out of your comfort zone kind of, or was it?
Well, I don't like I think like the normal sports like games or ever playing sports was always boring to
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
Um, but like something like rock climbing, I mean, it's active. It's
Mhm.
sure it's a sport. I think there's, I mean, what does the definition mean? But
Sure,
to
sure.
me, like, yeah, I don't enjoy sports, but I enjoy like games more that are more like mental. And I know there is mental and strategy involved with sports, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I'm not interested in it.
And why do you think you're not interested in sports?
Mm.
And I ask you that because I'm also not interested in sports, but I just am curious in what you say.
Yeah, I think it's um it's for like to watch it. It's not, I'm not participating in it. So again, like there's like a million things I would rather do that are more like participatory for me and more
Mhm.
engaging and like make me feel more alive than just like vicariously trying to like be active through other people, or
Mhm.
to vicariously like exercise my competitiveness through other people just seems lame. And then as far as playing sports, like it was just never interesting to me. Like I've always been into fitness and wellness, but I always gravitated more toward like the performing arts, so like dance and playing instruments and singing, even acting. I did improv comedy, anything in the performing arts realm is definitely more my jam.
Okay, okay. Um, so let me update my things here just a tiny bit. Just thinking about what you just said and kind of um does winning and losing matter much to you, or how what is your relationship to winning and losing, I guess is maybe the way I should put it.
That's interesting because I have like an enormous amount of I would say this. I would say I'm very intrinsically motivated, and like extrinsic recognition or like winning
Mhm.
is kind of secondary. Of course, it matters, and it's like I probably do have a competitive streak, but to me, the way I think about it is I actually care more about the process.
Mhm.
Like if I was playing a game, for instance, or if I was in like a competition of some kind, I
Oh, we might have lost you. Let's see if we get Lara back. Lara, it's Lara, not Lara. Come back to us, Lara.
You got me? Lara, yeah.
Ah, there you are.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we're catching up to you.
Okay,
The
cool.
the JPEG gremlins are coming for you. We'll see if it catches up. All right, it looks like it might be catching up. We got artifacts. Go like this. Clear out all those artifacts. You got artifacts behind you on the painting now. Oh, we're making so many more. It's just looking like a big smeared mess now. It's great. It's like a piece of modern
Oh
art.
no! Oh no!
You'll
Oh
see
no!
when you watch the video. It looks pretty chunky right now. All right, as long as we can hear you, we're good. I lost track of where we were in the conversation, but you probably remember.
Oh, competition.
Yes, competition. Go ahead, continue. It might be a little laggy, but
Oh, so
I'll
I don't know
let
if
you
you
know.
lost it. Yeah, so at the end I was saying that when I'm in a competition of any kind, I actually like definitely want to win. But ultimately, I think I probably care more about the experience itself and having fun if I had to like pick one. But I'm
Okay.
definitely motivated to win.
Okay. Okay. Um. All right. I'm gonna give you a challenge that I came up with today, actually, and I want to see how you do with this.
Cool.
You get to be the first guinea pig for this one. So
All right.
you are a merchant. You are a merchant in a little town. There are uh, tourists that come through the town, and so you're unfortunately you're a bit of a morally flexible merchant, and you have this golden looking rope that's essentially worthless, but you have you have somebody who just walked in, and they ask you about the rope, and you realize immediately that you need to come up with some really clever story about why that rope is valuable. So what is it that you come up with to tell this person?
Oh, I would say that the rope had been around for over 2,000 years, and it
Hmm.
had been passed down for from like conquistadors to local rulers to stage performers to circus, like a traveling circus. And I would just like construct this story that had been passed down for over the past 2,000 years.
Nice, nice. Okay, that's a pretty good story. Um, now, next, the person comes asks the follow-up question, which is, um, uh, they seem impressed. They seem impressed by the story that you've just told. They're really only particularly interested in rope that can do very unusual things. So now you have to explain to this person a few of the unusual things that this rope is capable of doing that ordinary rope can't do. So what would you tell this
Oh, okay.
person?
Um, well, first of all, it can stretch really far, but still maintain elasticity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so it like still can keep its integrity for whatever you're trying to encircle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it um, it can stretch really really far and then retract, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like very portable.
Mm-hmm.
But it has like its range is actually like miles and miles
Mm-hmm.
long.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Uh, um,
He's like, this is good. This is good. I need a little bit more. I need to know a little bit more. I need more features. Give me more features. You've almost sold me.
um, rope features. When it coils, it like creates it like bonds to itself.
Uh-huh.
So it's like self-reinforcing when you need to if you're like trying to like like coil there, it would then like reinforce itself. And also, if you're trying to use it to like wrangle cows,
Mhm.
um, it like the cows actually like the way that it smells and tastes, so
Mhm.
they're not afraid of it. So like they actually like seek it out. If you're like the cowboy wrangling type of rope purchaser.
Nice. Okay. Good. Now, no, good, good. We're getting there. So now, what you have to do is, you have to try to make him think that you really want the rope and that you don't want to actually part with the rope. So now you have to, um, sort of create an argument for why you actually do need the rope. So what do you tell him to get him to want the rope?
Oh, I would say, oh, why I really need, can you hear me?
Yes.
Why I would really need the
Or why
rope.
you really deserve to have it more than he does right now because reasons.
Oh, well, I'm headed on a survival trip in the middle of nowhere, and
Mhm.
it's very important that I have a rope in case I need to like rope any animals for survival when I'm on my 2 month survival stint.
Okay. Okay. Good. So now I want to ask you a different kind of creative question. Good job, by the way. Good job on all those rope questions. Yes, bravo. Um,
Good question. It's fun.
did you like that? um, so um, you being the fine purveyor of other wares, like to go into other curious shops and look around, and you go into one that you're not accustomed to seeing. It's very unusual, and the man behind the counter, uh, basically has a kind of a game that he likes to play with his visitors, where if they can tell him uh, aspects of similarity between items, then he will cut them a deal on those items. So you have to. So he picks out three items that it seems like you might be interested in, and he asks you to tell him what these things have in common. So what you end up finding is a pair of shoes that you like. You also find a an antique necklace, and he has a cooler of drinks in there, and you'd like some tea that's in there, and so he asks you to tell him as many things as possible that those three items have in common.
Okay. So the cooler or the tea?
The tea.
The tea.
So it's
Um,
the antique necklace, the shoes, and the tea.
okay. All three are definitely not necessary, but certainly enhance the quality of your life.
Okay.
Um, all three are consumables. Um, all three could be like antique or ancient of some kind. Like the necklace is obviously antique, but tea is ancient in its origins. And
Mhm.
depending on what kind of shoes they are, like if they're ballet shoes, there's a lot of history in ballet shoes.
Mhm.
Or there's like different like styles of shoes have some interesting history.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, let's see. Mm, shoes. Hmm. Tea, necklace, ancient necklace, or shoes. They could all come in many different shapes and sizes and
Mhm.
styles
Mhm.
and varietals.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's they all can range drastically in price
Mhm.
and quality.
Okay, that's probably good enough. Um, you did better on both of those kinds of tests than almost anyone I've ever tested any of those two tests. Those are two different kinds of creative problem solving, and you did very well on both of them.
I didn't think I did. I was
You
feeling
did
like I was
actually.
boxed. I was like, I'm stretching.
You did almost kind of frustratingly well, in my opinion, on my side of things. All right, so we're at the, and I say that you know what I mean because I'm trying to narrow it
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Of course.
Um, so don't be so dang versatile at everything.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm gonna. This will be the 50% mark of the video, or at least this is part A, end of part A. If this was an audio recording, I'd be like, turn the tape over. So I'll see if so.
tape over.
Remember that?
The flip side.
Remember when people used to do that? Now it's go to video B.
Yeah.
So all right, we'll see the friends at home in video B, and Lara, I'll see you in I don't know 5 or 10 minutes. I'm gonna stop the recording now. See you in video B, friends.
Cool.